Stu. How are you?
Glenn, how are you in D.C.?
I am good. I tell you, the allergies, the trees and everything they exploded in my throat yesterday. And so I'm not sure how long my voice will last. And I have to save it because I'm meeting with the president a little later on this afternoon. I'm going to spend a couple of hours with him. And that show will broadcast tonight at 9 p.m. on Blaze. So just stick with me. All right, let's start here with SCOTUS. The battle for the soul of our children began yesterday in the Supreme Court. The case involves a group of parents suing the largest school district in Maryland for their right to withdraw their children from classes on days that books with gay and transgender characters themes are discussed. The parents are suing on religious freedom grounds. In 2022, Montgomery County Public Schools added LGBTQ-themed books to their curriculum for students from pre-K through the 5th grade. The books include things like Pride Puppy, an alphabet book about a family whose puppy gets lost at a pride parade. Love and Violet, about a girl who has a crush on her female classmate. These are pre-K to 5th grade. And Born Ready, about a transgender boy. Again, these books added to pre-K to 5th grade. This new curriculum is DEI for elementary children. Now, at first, the Maryland School District alerted parents when the storybooks were going to be used in class and allowed them to have their children excused from the sessions. But the district has since stopped giving both advance notice and an opt-out policy, saying it's too hard to administer. I mean, geez, it's really, really... And it leads to lots of absences and stigmatizes some kids. I want you to know this case is not about a few storybooks, a few colorful, pictures of little puppies getting lost. It's about whether you, as a parent, still have a God-given right to raise your children according to your faith and your values and your common sense. Do you have the right? Because if the Supreme Court says, no, you don't have that right anymore. If the First Amendment free exercise clause doesn't protect this, your right as a parent, then what are all our rights even for? If we don't have a right as a parent to parent our children, none of the rights really even matter. Now, the parents who are suing insist that these books, quote, promote one-sided transgender ideology, encourage gender transitioning, and focus excessively on romantic infatuation. By the way, the parents are not seeking to remove the books from classrooms or the children's libraries. They just don't want their children to have to sit through these indoctrination sessions. Oh, that's not good enough. You will comply. That's what it's all about. They're not trying to erase anyone's story. They just want to not comply. They want to shield their children from ideas that contradict their faith. What is the First Amendment really all about? Sounds reasonable. Sounds like basic parenting 101. First Amendment is clear. You cannot burden someone's free exercise of religion, forcing kids to engage with ideas that violate their family's deeply held beliefs. That is clearly a burden. Religious liberty is in the First Amendment. It is not a second-class right. It is a first-class right. Besides, this is basic common sense, or at least used to be. Parents have the right to guide their kids on any sensitive topic like sex, sexuality, or yes, even gender. It's not the school's job. It's your job, period. Now, this should be a slam dunk for the parents, but I don't even know. I mean, if the Supreme Court doesn't see that, parents won't just be losing this case. We'll be losing even more freedom to raise our own kids. This one is a very, very deep red, crimson line in the sand that the Supreme Court cannot cross. But we'll see. Apparently yesterday, did you hear any of the arguments, Stu?
Yeah, I read about them. It definitely seemed like the conservative justices were a bit skeptical of the idea that you get to force parents to keep their kids in these classes, even if they oppose it when you're reading these books. But, of course, you never know. We've seen crazy things happen in the Supreme Court before. What's fascinating to me is, and what's the motivation here, Glenn? You tell me. If you're going to have one of these situations where you have these books, and as you point out, they are not like, okay, there happens to be a gay character in a book about something else. Like, it is like straight out like books about why you should think these lifestyles and choices are okay, right? Like, it is straight out what they're doing to pre-K to fifth graders. So really, really young. This is not like, some of these situations they like to push out there like, oh, you don't want high schoolers to read these books. It's not even what they're talking about. And what could be the motivation of not allowing parents to opt their kids out here? They did offer that, as you noted. They did offer that the first year that these books. It's a hassle. It's a hassle. I love that. There's no innocuous. Explanation for this, right? No. It's just we want your kids to believe these things. Therefore, we will force them to stay in class. What do you mean? It's hard to administer. There's all sorts of things that would allow. That you'd allow kids to leave class for. It's not hard to administer a kid walking out and doing something else, learning something different. What's the motivation? What's the innocuous tale here, Glenn?
There is none. There is none. You go back to the Bible. Remember Sodom and Gomorrah, and the angels come into town. They're looking just for one person. Just what can we find? One person, and they go in and they find one. They find one. And he sees the angels and he's like, come on, get into the house, get into the house. And he gets them into the house. And, you're not safe out there. And then they start beating on the door. Hey, let us in. We saw these two guys. And you need to bring them out here. The answer was, no. I tell you, I'll give you my daughter. Just not these guys. Now, we found that a little, that's when the angel should have went, I don't know if we found the right guy here, but it was a different time. We'll give you our daughter first. Give you our daughter. Just leave them alone. No. You had to comply. If you were coming in to the city, you must comply. They wanted to sodomize the angels. No, thank you. No, I'm all sodomy. I'm all life. The doctor says I'm getting too much sodomy. So, but that is what's happening again. This, even if you don't believe in angels or you don't believe in the story of the Bible, this is a very good parable. I happen to believe it, but it's a very good parable on what was going on. Let's just look at the Bible as just saying, what was the general thing? You could describe it any way you want, but what was generally going on? The city had been taken over by just absolute degenerates. And sodomy had become such a big deal. They actually taught my daughter in a Catholic school at Fordham University. They taught my daughter that sodomy, Dad, was just their way of greeting people. You had a Catholic school teach you that sodomy wasn't bad. It was just the way they greeted people. Hey, drop your pants. I want to greet you. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's just the way it was. Well, you know what? I don't want to live in a city where they drop their pants to greet you. I just don't. I think that's probably wrong.
Speak for yourself.
Even if that was
lots of people, Glenn. You have to understand. You can't opt out of it. You need to make sure that you're participating in the traditional greetings of that society.
This is a philosophy that has no forgiveness, and you're either on board or you're not. You're either 100% in, or you're an outcast, and you will comply. This is what the left just doesn't understand. I shouldn't say the left understands this. The average Democrat doesn't understand. They think, because the average Democrat, I think, is still kind of thinking, well, I don't like all of that, but I want to be tolerant. There is no tolerance with this. There's none. And this should show you. There is no reason to force these parents or force these kids to go against their parents' teaching other than you will participate. You will comply. That's all it is.
Yeah, I love too. One of their outs on this from the left is basically to say, look, if you don't want your kids to learn this stuff, then you should homeschool or put your kids in Christian schools. Now, of course, it's actually Christians, Jews, and Muslims. One of the lead defendants here is a Muslim. Actually, is trying to pull their kids out of this, and they have. Which is a fascinating argument from the left, considering how hard they fought against school choice all this time. I mean, they have tried to prevent it. They've tried to prevent the rights for you to educate your own kids, and they're trying to force you to pay for that education, not once but twice. That's their answer. Like, if you don't want to learn what we're teaching you, then you get to pay twice as much for an education you're going to get outside of these walls.
I will tell you that I talked to some people over the last couple of days up here, some of them with the Department of Education, and they are thrilled to dismantle that thing. They are very, very excited to dismantle the Department of Education. They're on the inside, and they're like, it's freaking them out, and we're shutting this thing down. And it couldn't be more exhilarating, quite honestly. I mean, tell me what the Department of Education has done. Look at how they're taking on private schools, and they're saying you don't have a right to private education, or you have a right, but we're not gonna give you any vouchers. We're not gonna spend any. And look at what we're spending money on: a system that is getting worse and worse and worse, and we're trapping our children into slavery. If your kids can't read, I mean, go back to the 1800s. Do you know that I believe it was the death penalty to teach someone, a slave, how to read? Did you know that? It was a crime of the highest order to teach a slave to read. Why? Because if they can read, they can think. If they can think, they're no longer going to be a slave. That's why. So these people have hated the African American forever. It's the same people that started the Klan. It's the progressive movement that tried to wipe out every black with Planned Parenthood, and they're still doing it and getting away with it. Is there a reason why all of the abortion clinics happen to fall in the black zip codes? Is there a reason that that's where most of them are? Gee, I don't know. They're still doing it. They were the ones that were over in Germany telling you how to get rid of the Jews. Yes, that was an American thing, not a German thing. That was us. My gosh, these people have hated and hated and hated. And then the guy, Johnson, who stopped the civil rights movement. He stopped the Civil Rights Act in 1959. He was the guy who stopped it. Then just 4 or 5 years later, he signs it in, and he's proud to do it. And then he signs the great, what do you call it? The Great Society bills. So we have a great society that's going to help the black man. And what does it do? It tears their families apart. It drives them further into poverty. It miseducates their children, so they're just nincompoops. And then, by the way, white people are nincompoops as well because we get the same damn education. Who is this hurt? This has hurt the black man more than the white man. And these people, they still get away with it. Now, ask yourself a question. If you're paying taxes and this is your country, why the hell can't you say, I'm not educating my kid there and I'm not paying you for that education because I think that education is evil. I think that education is so evil because look what it's doing to our kids. It's teaching them that they should be slaves. It's not teaching them how to think. It's teaching them what you want them to think. No, not going to do it anymore. All right, back in just a second. Let me tell you about our sponsor. Our sponsor this half hour is something that I don't even have. Oh, there it is, Relief Factor. It always starts with something small, little stiffness when you reach for your shoes or that unmistakable when you get up from the chair. That's a sound you never meant to make, but you get up in the chair and you're like, It just comes out. It's not that you're old. It's your body is sending you subtle, grunty messages that suggest otherwise. And you can try to ignore them, but why not fight back? Let your body fight back. Help your body fight back. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free way to tackle pain from inflammation. It is a daily supplement created by doctors that helps your body feel more like your body. Again, millions have tried it. Hundreds of thousands stick with it every month because they feel the difference. I'm one of them. When you're dealing with pain day in and day out, you need a solution that's actually going to work and not going to negatively impact the other parts of your life. The solution is Relief Factor. For $19.95, you can try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start. It's less than $1 a day. Call 800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF. It's relieffactor.com. 10 seconds, station ID. So on my way to the White House here in a couple of hours, and I'm going to be with the president today. I'd love to hear what you are interested in. I'd love to ask a few questions that are directed by you. I've been working on these questions for the president here for the last, about a week. But I'd love to hear from you, 888-727-BECK. What is it that you are most interested in hearing asked of the president? It's so interesting asking the president questions because I remember I was in the Oval Office with George W. Bush, and he was not happy. And I had questioned, what is happening to what's happening in the war, Mr. President? And I had just got on the air, and I don't remember what I said to piss him off, but I said something. And I said, that's not the way the president behaves. And so he calls me in the office, and I'm sitting there, and he says, a lot of people think they know exactly what it's like to be the president. They have no idea what it's like to be the president of the United States. You don't know what I'm dealing with. And in some ways, it was true. I mean, it's no excuse. You have to be better at it than anybody else. But the president can't answer certain things. Like, I really want to know, can this be saved? Can this be saved? Because we are looking at such we're looking into the abyss. And I don't think the American people really understand that. And it's going to take all of us understanding it and then choosing, okay, I'll take the hard road. I'll take the hard medicine now. Used to be able, in the old days, FDR could get on and say, look, this is going to be hard. This is going to be a slog, but I'll take it on for my generation so our children don't have to deal with it. I'm not sure that people are, I think they're willing to do it, but there will always be somebody on the outside that says, that's not necessary. You don't have to do that. You can do it all. You can have it all. No. You don't understand. We'll put your Social Security over here in a lockbox, and people will want to believe the easy road. So I've been wrestling with questions on how to make it easy for the president to tell the real truth on the economy, which I think he does, but I don't think enough people hear it. That, as he says, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Yeah, it's going to be a lot more than a bumpy ride. It's going to be a tough slog, but we have to do it. This interview, by the way, will air tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Blaze TV.
This is Glenn Beck.
Wow, that's so amazing because I am Glenn Beck. That's so weird. You never realize how dependent you really are on the power that's supplied by the grid until the grid is down. That's when the thought hits, wow, I should have had a generator. Mm-hmm. That's why I want you to check out the Grid Doctor 3300. Generators are really, really expensive, but you usually don't need one. But this one is solar powered, so you're not scrambling for gas cans or dealing with the roar of an engine in your driveway. It's quiet, it's clean, it's safe to use inside your house even. This is the generator for people who want something practical, portable, and built for a world we actually live in where blackouts are more common and infrastructure is more powerful. This is something you could put your fridge or your freezer on so, all the meat doesn't go bad. If you want real peace of mind, something you'll actually use, go to mypatriotsupply.com. Look at the Grid Doctor 3300. You'll be glad you did. It's quiet, fume-free, safe to use indoors and out, totally portable. And in a world where the grid's becoming less and less reliable by the day, Grid Doctor 3300 will give you peace of mind and practical everyday use. Get yours now, mypatriotsupply.com. That's mypatriotsupply.com, America's trusted source for emergency preparedness.
Glenn Beck and Donald Trump talking tonight. Don't miss it. blazetv.com/Glenn. The promo code is Glenn.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. We're glad you're here tonight at 9 p.m. only on Blaze TV. Make sure you join us at blazetv.com. I don't know the promo code. What is the promo code today?
I would say it's Glenn. Glenn and two N's.
Join me for go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Use the promo code Glenn. You'll save. But tonight is it's going to be an epic interview with the president at the White House. So don't miss it. I go in to do that interview later this afternoon. It'll air at 9 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be unedited, and you'll be able to see him. Yeah. It's not like you're dealing with Joe Biden anymore. No. Yeah. It's just going to let it ride. Let's see what he says. I have a lot of things to talk to him about. Like one thing that I would like to see, that I don't see anybody talking about. The president is changing the economy. He is changing. He's getting away from this World War II nightmare. That might have been right for 1948, but it's certainly not right for today, where we were taking care of Europe. We were giving them all kinds of special breaks. We were paying for their defense, yada 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 yada. Instead, now America needs to take care of herself, and we all need to be self-sufficient. Well, we're talking about AI a lot. But what people are not talking about are something that Eric Schmidt came to the White House, to the Capitol Hill and testified a couple of days ago about the power usage. We have a significant problem with power. Now, I want you to understand, everyone will tell you we cannot lose the race for AI. Have you heard anyone say anything other than that, Stu?
No, anyone who talks about it says we can't just let China or someone else win it.
It's 100% universal. We must win, okay? So where are we going to get all the power? Here's what Eric said. Many people project demand for our industry will go from 3% of total energy production right now. We're at 3% for all of our server farms and everything else for Silicon Valley. Uses 3%. He says it's going to go from 3% to 99% of all energy usage in the next 3 years. An additional 29 gigawatts by 2027 and 67 more gigawatts by 2030. He is now saying that we have to build hundreds of nuclear power plants. He said there are some plants most plants will require one nuclear power plant per server farm. Some of them may require up to 3 nuclear power plants per server farm. So this is really good in one way because we will have the electricity that we need, assuming we start to build these things quickly. I mean, what's going to happen, Stu? It takes 25 years to build a nuclear power plant. How is it we're expected at all to compete? We have dismantled our coal fire plants all over the country. We are still not digging up coal and fuel as much as we need to. We need to be open and open valves on absolutely everything. That's something that Eric Schmidt said yesterday, too. Now, remember, this is a Silicon Valley guy. I'm sure he was green for a long time, but now he's saying we need absolutely every source of energy because we are going to need 99% by 2027. 2027. What do you think your power price is going to be? What do you think about rolling blackouts and brownouts? We have got to be, and this would create so many jobs, good paying jobs, going out and building all these nuclear power plants.
Is this an opportunity?
But will we do it?
For Trump and the Trump administration? Huge. I mean, because it feels also like talking about positives going on offense rather than being on defense. There's been a lot of defense talk lately. And going on offense and saying, hey, we can be the best place for your company to exist because we're going to be the only place on earth that has the power it needs.
Yep. The only other country that is doing it is China, and they're building them like crazy. This is something that we have. Donald Trump could surpass FDR in power generation. Remember, most people in 1919 in Woodrow Wilson, I think 1% of the population had a refrigerator. By 1930, I think that number was like 80% had refrigeration. When FDR came in, the only places that didn't have stuff there was no electricity in these small little rural towns. So he went and he started building power plants and dams and everything else to generate all the power and then started laying power lines. This is something that Donald Trump could do. And it is time. I mean, our grid hasn't really been updated since FDR. We're still using the same stuff. And you know, a lot of it is just so outdated and so bad. Our grid is so incredibly unstable and not built for what's coming next. And I just don't know how he's going to get it done, but this is a big win for him. Big win for him. You know how many jobs would be created if we introduced and said we have to build them in the next 3 years? It would be enormous. And exciting.
Yeah, exciting. I mean, look, having power is the basis of civilization. Like this is not a small little thing. I mean, it really is one of the foundational elements you need for a modern civilization. And we sit here and we talk about all the things we can't do, all the natural resources that we have but we can't utilize, all the things that we need to stop. Right? We need to stop making gas-powered cars. We need to stop getting our own coal and using it. We need to stop building nuclear plants. This is a way of saying, no, we're on offense. We're America. You know, the left is trying to right now, they're in the middle of a rebrand, and one of their, as we talked about last hour, they're still seemingly stuck in a lot of these crazy woke things that burned them last time. Hopefully they stick with those forever. But one of the proposals being floated around on the left is this idea of abundance. That's the name of the book that kind of lays these concepts out. And it's an idea of trying to take away what the right has always had, which is this idea of saying, hey, we're looking to grow. We want better things. We want the Americans to have a better, more fruitful, more wealthy, more, having more. And we'll decide what we want to do when we have more. And the left was always saying, hey, no, we need to restrict. We need to calm that down. You don't need all of this. Right. You don't need the bigger house. You don't need the bigger car. And that's not the fundamental number one thing we should care about. But it was always there for us to say, hey, all these shelves are stocked. Everything you need is right there. You make the decisions on what you want. You'll make the decisions and prioritize on what you're going to spend your money on and what you're going to spend your time on. And the left is trying to take that back right now. They're seeing an opportunity because of a lot of people on the right who are saying, no, actually, maybe we shouldn't have those things available. Maybe you don't need them. And I'm nervous. If they decide to go down this road, there is a real vulnerability to the conservative movement if the left takes that away from us, and they want to.
State it again more succinctly. What your concern again?
My concern is, and this is a real thing being talked about on the left in sort of their higher level academic circles, is the approach to take away that, I don't know, it was I would say, pretty consistent with that Reagan optimism, right? The shining city on the hill. The idea that
we can do it.
We can do it. We can accomplish all these incredible things, not through government, but through you. You can do it. We'll have all these things, and you should expect from your country an abundance, not scarcity.
You said, I'm trying to figure out, where are you seeing that on the left? Where?
I mean, there's a major bestseller that just came out called Abundance. And it was from the left. It was from two guys on the left, and I don't know that they'll win. I mean, but Ezra Klein, Derek Thompson, they're pretty well known people.
It's really hard to. That's really hard to sell. I mean,
I agree.
Look at Barack Obama. I know. Look at Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. He's got how many houses? 3. Where he's building a seawall around one of his houses, where you can't build seawalls in Hawaii, but he's building a seawall around one of them. That's his part-time house. His other part-time house is in Nantucket, 1 foot above sea level. Count them, 1 foot above sea level. And he's got a third house someplace else. I think it's here in Washington. And he's always talking about, hey, there comes a time when enough is enough and you have too much. When is that, Barack? Because you're telling us that we shouldn't have an SUV. You've got 3 houses. See, this whole abundance thing has never been aimed at them. It's always been aimed at us. They believe in abundance, but only for the right people. The right people get it. And that is the biggest difference in abundance, is they've been saying that we all have to, pinch back, but they don't actually mean it. At least the Republicans are like, I'm corrupt as hell and making all kinds of money on the side, but you can too. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, look, they've never actually believed any of these things, right? But what was their approach? Forever, we've heard the approach of, hey, your TVs are too big. Your cars, they have too much of what you need. The SUVs are too large. Your homes are too large. You don't need that air conditioning. You should turn it to 72 degrees. Now, I can bet you at neither Martha's Vineyard or in Hawaii, Barack Obama never had his house set to some uncomfortable temperature he didn't like.
Well,
but they tried.
He might have, because he's right on the ocean, and you get that lovely ocean breeze that most of us don't get.
That's true. But I mean, it was always something they tried to implement on the people, right? It was always, we get what we want, but you need to sacrifice for the greater good. And that's a thing that just doesn't connect exactly with the American people, not because they're not charitable, because they are. They want to do good things for other people. They will come together and do accomplish incredible things, which they have done. But it was always this idea that you would be able to, it was part of the American deal, right? We do these things, we work hard, maybe we work harder, maybe we work more hours, maybe we put up with more crap, but with the idea that we can shape our own future. The left is trying to take that messaging back. Now, I'm with you in that I am not confident that viewpoint will win out on the left, because there's a bunch of insane people, but it is a vulnerability of the right if we go down this road of trying to encourage the same type of scarcity talk that the left has been engaging in.
Okay, so let's take that. Next hour, I want to tell you a story that fits right in here on what the leftists are doing now in San Francisco, because it's very similar to what you're talking about. And this morning when I read it, I was like, that'll never work. But maybe you're right. Maybe it will. I don't know, but it's insane. We'll talk about that and so much more coming up. Don't forget President Trump, an interview at the White House tonight at 9 with President Trump and I. Let me tell you about Real Estate Agents I Trust. Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make, and not something that you want to walk blindly into. That's why I started realestateagentsitrust.com. I wanted to make sure that when you were making a move, whether it was across the street or across the country, you're working with somebody who has been vetted, somebody who knows, is very, very experienced, and who actually knows the market, knows the difference between right and wrong, knows how to listen to you. These are agents who don't just dabble in real estate. This is their career. They know how to price your home correctly, how to stage it, how to market it. They know how to fight for you during the negotiation so you're getting the best deal possible, whether you're buying or you're selling. It's about trust, getting somebody who shares your values and treats your home like more than just a transaction. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, go to realestateagentsitrust.com, realestateagentsitrust.com. Let my team connect you with the top-rated agent in your area. Don't wait, realestateagentsitrust.com.
Glenn Beck. We'll be right back.
Well, one way you can lose your home is by missing mortgage payments, but that is not the only way to lose it. It turns out that the title thieves have a faster way of doing this. With one forged deed filed online, they can claim your property before really they get up and have breakfast. Federal reports show title fraud climbed more than 50% last year, and meanwhile, the nightly news streams celebrity and political drama for the clicks instead of warning about stuff like this. Here's what happens. Basically, the crook copies public data. They attach a digital notary stamp. They upload a fake deed. And your county clerk often accepts it. Minutes later, your equity backs a loan that you never asked for. The bill arrives weeks later, interest's already ticking. Alarms, can't do anything to protect you from this. They can protect your windows. But they can't protect this type of theft. And Home Title Lock stands watch on home title fraud 24/7. They're not going to let you down. The instant a document touches your deed, you get an alert. And honestly, if by some chance a lucky thief manages to pull all of this off, they have a restoration team. They send lawyers and all this other stuff to make sure everything gets back the way it's supposed to be. Go to HomeTitleLock.com right now. Protect yourself from this. HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. The promo code is BLAZE.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. I'm going to spend another hour with you, and then I got to get to the White House to interview the president, and I'm looking forward to that. Love to hear your comments. We polled our audience over the last few days and been asking people, what are you most interested in? And most people are interested in Doge. That seems to be the hot button with this audience, so I'm going to be talking to them about Doge. In particular, yesterday it was announced that it looks like Elon Musk is going to be reducing his time in Washington on Doge next month. And what does that mean? And is he happy with the amount that has been cut? They've really dramatically reduced the amounts of cuts that they're looking for. And I find that a little sad, quite honestly, but I'm not sure why that is happening. Is he getting pushback from the agencies? Is he getting pushback from Congress? Where is he getting this pushback from? And is he going to just keep plowing through it? What happens when Elon Musk leaves? We'll talk to him about that. Let me go to, is it Renee in Texas or Renee?
Yes. Renee.
Renee. Hi, Renee.
So,
what's up?
Hi. Tariffs are killing my small business. And it's not even the tariff amounts. It's the way that they were implemented very suddenly and very haphazardly. The shipping companies were not prepared for what was coming. I had shipments in the air. I import most of my goods for my small business specialty martial arts company from Hungary and from Poland. And and UPS and FedEx, they started slapping steel tariffs on shipments that contain zero steel, because it's coded as a sporting good. And when I asked, hey, why are y'all doing that? They said, well, we didn't know what was in there. And so to be safe, they coded it as steel. So I'm paying $5,000 in customs for a package that normally would have cost me $600 to $800 in tariffs or customs.
Okay.
And when I said, can I get that back? They said, well, you have to file a claim with customs, and it may be 4 to 6 weeks to get that back. I'm currently out about $30,000. Because
I will ask the president about this because there's a lot of tariff talk that I want to get to today. I put that down. I am going to put it on my list of things to talk to him about. I feel for you. I really do feel for you. It's been a little sloppy.
Is Glenn Beck.